Here we go. Nebraska takes on Purdue tomorrow in West Lafayette. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my official game predictions for that matchup. Who plays well for the Huskers? Who's our offensive and defensive MVPs? And then my score prediction. Who gets it done and in what fashion? So really quick, we have a lot to talk about today, but if you're excited about tomorrow's matchup, Nebraska potentially getting a bounce back victory, I know I am, hit that like button. And hey, if you're new to the channel or just a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. I post daily Nebraska football content. Nobody else on Husker YouTube does that, so make sure to subscribe. You will not regret it. But without further ado, let's get into it. Going over this matchup, Nebraska is trying to get a bounce back victory versus Purdue. The Huskers entered this game 3-1 for their first road test. Purdue is trying to get also a bounce back victory after losing the last 2 weeks versus Notre Dame and Oregon State. So as always, I'm going to start off with my game predictions. We're going to talk about how the game is going to go, who I think plays well, some statistics. Then I will give you my score prediction and my offensive and defensive MVP. So let's start it off with my first prediction. Nebraska, on their first offensive drive, they score and they score easily. Now, Nebraska has scored on 3 of their 4 opening drives so far this year. Of course, Illinois broke that streak last week. But Purdue's defense is one of the worst in the Big Ten. They're really, really bad at stopping the run. And Nebraska's also had a lot of success scripting those drives and getting guys going like Ja'Cory Barney, Carter Nelson, Isaiah Nair, Jamal Banks, going in that first drive from scrimmage. So I feel really, really good about Nebraska going down the field and getting a touchdown to get things going. And you also know that pregame speech is going to be ridiculous from Matt Rhule. He's going to get the guys playing with some fuel, playing with some energy, and they're going to want to win this football game very badly. So number one, I think Nebraska starts off 7-0 and they score on their first drive. Number two, I think Purdue has a little bit of an early success, at least in the first half, running the football. So we know that they average 180 rushing yards per game. That's one of the best in all of college football. And Nebraska's had a little bit of trouble the last couple weeks stopping that run, specifically against Illinois and Northern Iowa. So Devin Mockbee in that running back room for Purdue, he's been very successful throughout his career. In 2022, he ran for 190 yards against us in West Lafayette. So he's had success specifically against the Black Shirts. That was a different team, granted, but he knows how to get it done. So I think Purdue can really, they'll start to establish that running game as the first half progresses. Now, does that continue for the second half? I don't think so. Third prediction, and I hinted at this throughout the week, I think Dylan Raiola has a statement game. One of those games where you look back on in a couple years when he's in the mix for being the first overall pick, when he's in the mix for being a potential Heisman candidate. You look back on this game and you say, this started it all for Dylan Raiola. Nebraska versus Purdue. I think Dylan Rhule throws for over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns versus the Boilermakers. He's the X factor on this team. He's why I'm so optimistic about us going forward. He's why I still think we can be competitive this year and win 8, 9, games. It's because of him. Because he is such an upgrade from the quarterbacks we've had in the past. So I think Dylan Rhule, he's going to play angry. He wants to win super bad, and they're going to let him get going. Purdue has a decent secondary. I'm going to give them credit. I think they've had success the first couple weeks of the season. But nobody in their secondary can guard Isaiah Nair, can guard Jamal Banks, can even guard a true freshman like Ja'Cory Barney. So I think Dylan Raiola really, really has a good day. He's decisive. He doesn't throw interceptions. And he really proves that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he is here to stay. So that is my third prediction. Dylan Raiola has a field day versus Purdue. My fourth prediction, Nebraska forces 3 turnovers on the day. Not 1, not 2, but 3 takeaways versus Purdue. It's going to be one of those days where it feels like everything we do defensively is working. The defense got embarrassed last week. They got embarrassed. The defensive line didn't play well. The linebacker core didn't play well. And the secondary wasn't good either. And you know that Tony White was ripping into them this week at practice. That can never happen again. Guarantee he's saying that. So this defense is going to play stout throughout this ball game. They're going to force turnovers. They're going to get to the quarterback, and they're going to reestablish themselves as one of the best in the Big Ten. Now, we're not going to go back to saying this is going to be a top 10, top 15 defense, at least not yet, but they're going to reestablish themselves as a unit that is a force to be reckoned with. So they're going to force 3 turnovers officially. I think 2 interceptions and a forced fumble against Purdue, and I really think they set up this offense to get a lot of easy points in short field. 5th prediction before I get into my game prediction, my score prediction. Nebraska proves themselves today, or tomorrow, I should say. Okay, they heard the doubters. They heard the people over the last week saying Nebraska's not going to win, 6 games. They're not going to get a bowl game. They heard that crap. Okay, they're going to prove themselves. They're going to prove, hey, we're still a really good football team. Yes, we lost versus Illinois, and we're not happy about that. We should have won that ball game, but that doesn't define our season. We have such a good culture. We have such a good coaching staff. We have such a good talent that we are not going to allow ourselves to lose again, or at least not soon, against a team that we really, really should beat. So they're going to take care of business versus Purdue. And I said this last week that we would find out what type of team we are versus Illinois. Now we're going to find out what kind of team we are going forward versus Purdue, because yes, we got punched in the mouth, but the response is more important. Do you get up and punch right back, or do you stay down? My prediction, I think Nebraska gets back up and starts punching. And that's going to give us a lot of success throughout the season. That's my 5th game prediction. Now it's time for the score prediction. Nebraska in West Lafayette, a game that I was scared about a little bit in the preseason because I thought that might be a trap game. We've struggled in that stadium over the last couple of years. Not anymore. Nebraska wins 45-13 versus Purdue in dominating fashion. A game that honestly I think is going to be over by halftime. Offensive MVP for the Big Red, Dylan Raiola. I mean, I basically alluded to it all week. I think this guy is he's generational. He is absolutely generational, and he's going to prove to everybody against Purdue, because he heard the doubters, he heard the haters. There's too many Dylan Raiola haters on the internet. He's going to have a field day versus Purdue, and we're going to improve our record to 4-1. I also think, guys like Dante Dow are going to have a good game, because Purdue cannot stop this rushing attack. I'm going to make another prediction. I don't think they'll be able to stop this rushing attack at all. I think Isaiah Nair will shine again. I think Jamal Banks, I predict him to have a breakout game versus Illinois. He did just that. I think he continues that versus Purdue. I think this offense is a well-oiled machine this week. And then going to the black shirts, the defense. Jamari Butler is my pick, because I truly believe him and Ty Robinson are going to be a nasty duo. But a lot of times Ty Robinson, he gets those double teams, which leads Jamari Butler to be blocked one-on-one. Jamari's going to get to the quarterback a couple times, maybe force a couple fumbles, get some turnovers for the Big Red. I think this defensive line has a field day as well. This is just a old-fashioned, dominating Big Ten game that Nebraska fans, we got to get used to, because there's going to be a lot more of this coming in the future. So I'm optimistic. I'm feeling good about this ball game. Nebraska gets a bounce-back victory versus Purdue. We just got to stop the rushing attack. That's what it's going to go down to. If we can stop the rushing attack at a high level, I feel really good. All right, guys, let me know down below. What's your prediction for Nebraska versus the Boilermakers? Give me your score prediction, some players who you think perform well. Let me know in the comment section. And hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.